Welcome to Bootcamp Verse, your universe of tech bootcamps. Good morning and welcome back to Code2Corporate Bootcamp. It's 6 a.m. and we're starting day 8 strong. This week, we're exploring the essential tools and platforms you'll use as a developer. Yesterday, we covered IDEs and debugging tools. Those are the workbenches where you write, organize, and fix your code. Today, we shift focus to the core building blocks you'll use inside those IDEs: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. These are the fundamental languages that power the user interface, the part of the web that everyone sees and interacts with. Let's kick things off by understanding what the web really is. When you open your browser and type in a website, you're connecting to the World Wide Web, a massive network of servers around the globe. Your browser is the tool that displays web pages, and servers are the computers that store and serve those pages. Every website you visit is a collaboration between two main parts, the front end and the back end. The front end is everything you see and interact with on your screen: buttons, text, images, forms, and animations. It's what makes the web look inviting and usable. The back end, on the other hand, is the hidden engine room. It handles things like databases, business logic, and APIs. Think of the back end as the kitchen in a restaurant. Customers don't see it, but it's where most of the work happens. Today, our focus is the front end, the visible, interactive part of the web. Now, what's at the heart of every front end? 3 core technologies: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Think of them as the skeleton, skin, and muscles of a website. HTML gives the structure, the bones. CSS adds the appearance, the skin, and clothes. JavaScript brings behavior. It's the muscles and the brain, making things move and react. Let's break down each pillar one by one. We'll start with HTML, which stands for Hypertext Markup Language. HTML is not a programming language. It doesn't perform calculations or make decisions. Instead, it's a markup language, meaning it's used to structure and organize content. Imagine you're building a house. HTML is the blueprint and the bricks and walls. It tells the browser, here's a heading, here's a paragraph, here's an image, here's a link. HTML is made up of elements, which are written using tags. A tag looks like this: angle brackets around a word or letter, like P for paragraph, H1 for a main heading, or IMG for an image. Most tags come in pairs: an opening tag and a closing tag. For example, a paragraph starts with and ends with. Inside these tags, you put the actual content. Attributes give more information about how an element should behave or display. For instance, the src attribute in a tag tells the browser where to find the image file. The href attribute in a tag specifies the link's destination. You'll also use class and ID attributes to style elements or target them with JavaScript. Every HTML page follows a basic structure. At the very top, you'll see this tells the browser, hey, this is an HTML5 document. Then there's the tag, which wraps the entire page. Inside, you'll find where you put meta information, links to style sheets, and your page title, and where all the visible content lives. Let's imagine a super simple HTML file. In your IDE, you might write, my first web page. What? Oh, Hello, Bootcamp Verse. This is my very first web page. Shh. Visit Bootcamp Verse. So, Metzi. Here's what's happening. The tag creates a big heading. The tag creates a paragraph. The tag displays an image, and the tag makes a clickable link. This is the raw structure, the skeleton of your web page. But a skeleton alone isn't very appealing. That is where CSS comes in, cascading style sheets. CSS controls how your HTML looks. It's all about presentation, colors, fonts, spacing, layout, and even animations. If HTML gives you a basic room, CSS lets you paint the walls, lay down carpets, and hang up curtains. CSS works by targeting HTML elements with selectors. A selector might be a tag name like P for all paragraphs, a class like highlight for anything with class highlight, or an ID, like hashtag main title for the element with ID main title. You then define properties and values. For example, you might say color, blue, or font size 20px, or border 1px, solid black. CSS is called cascading because styles can come from different places and they cascade or layer over each other. If two styles conflict, the browser uses rules called specificity to decide which one wins. You can add CSS to your HTML in multiple ways. Inline styles, right inside an HTML tag, are possible but not recommended. More common is internal CSS using a let's apply some basic CSS to our earlier example. In a separate style.css file, you might write H1. Color, navy. Font size, 32px. Border bottom, 2px solidum 333. Checheru. Basi. Color, false. Font family, Arial, sans serif, ut. Now the heading is navy blue, bigger, and has an underline. The paragraph text is a softer color and uses a modern font. CSS transforms the plain skeleton into a polished, professional-looking page. But what if you want your page to respond to user actions? Maybe you want a button to change some text, or a form to validate before submission. That's where JavaScript comes in. JavaScript is a full-fledged programming language that runs right in your browser. It brings your page to life, making it dynamic and interactive. JavaScript can change HTML content, update CSS styles, react to clicks and keyboard input, fetch data from servers, and much more. At its core, JavaScript uses variables to store information, operators to perform calculations, control flow statements like if and for to make decisions and repeat actions, and functions to package reusable bits of code. One of JavaScript's most powerful features is DOM manipulation. The document object model, or DOM, is a tree-like representation of your HTML. JavaScript can walk this tree, find elements, and change them on the fly. Let's add a simple interaction. Suppose we have a button and a paragraph. Welcome to Bootcamp Verse. Change text. In your script.js file, you might write document.get element by ID change text. On click, equals function document get element by ID greeting. In a text equals you clicked the button. Now when you click the button, JavaScript changes the text inside the paragraph. That's the magic of adding behavior to your page. To sum it all up, HTML is the skeleton, CSS is the skin and style, and JavaScript is the brain and muscles that make your web page interactive. Nearly every modern website uses all three together, working in harmony. Why does this matter for your career? If you're aiming for a front-end developer role, you'll use HTML, CSS, and JavaScript every single day. Even back-end developers need to understand how these pieces fit together to build APIs that serve the front end. QA testers rely on this knowledge to test user interfaces effectively. These skills form the foundation for almost every tech role we discussed on day one. Let's quickly recap. HTML structures your content, CSS styles it, and JavaScript brings it to life. Tomorrow, we'll dive into the back end, specifically APIs, what they are, why they're important, and how the front end talks to the server. Before you go, here's a quick action item. Open your IDE, create an HTML file, add a heading and a paragraph, style them with some CSS, and try adding a button that changes the text with JavaScript. Experiment, break things, and see what happens. If you want to go deeper, check out resources like MDN Web Docs. They're beginner-friendly and packed with examples. And remember, if you have questions, drop them in the comments below or bring them to our next session. Don't forget to subscribe to Bootcamp Verse for more real-world learning that takes you from zero to job ready.